Intro is done. Didn't fall out of my seat this time. Hey everyone, my name's Austin, and today I'm going to be discussing outlining for your novel. Yeah, fun stuff. This is a series I'm starting for novel crafting. So basically I'm going to be doing it alongside of me writing my novel, and as I learn, I want to share that information for you guys, so if you're writing a novel, you don't miss out on that kind of stuff. So, today we're going to be discussing outlining. A lot of people don't like to do that, and it's kind of surprising because it's very helpful when you're writing your novel. It's basically just a timeline. It's a big map that you can use so you don't get really confused about what you're doing, and you can go back to what you want to specific things if you want to fix it, if you need to fix it, when you get a book deal or an editor. So it's just very helpful. So I don't understand why people don't like it. It's very essential to creating your book. When you want to really plan your book out, you don't want to go into it blind. You may have this idea and you know the beginning and you know the ending, you know like some middle parts, but if you go in blind, you're not going to know those like in between things like exposition and like I wouldn't say fluff, but you'll get to points in between those areas that you really know you want to write. You're like, I don't know what to do, and so you'll just keep typing it and it doesn't connect well. It's kind of just boring. You really need to outline. If you go into, like I said, if you go into a blank canvas, you're not really going to know what you're doing. I've done it before and I got really lost. It can be very tempting to go straight into the book especially when you're really wanting to write. Like I've had those moments where like, oh my god, I really want to write this book. I want to write this scene right now. And I don't have anything outlined, or like I don't have that outlined yet. And it's very tempting to go into it and do that. But don't fall into it, because if you do it and you get to that point where you're in the between, you don't know like you're in limbo and you're not really knowing what you should write. Don't know what to tell you because it may not even fit into your novel. Concentrate on each explicit detail. A software that's really good for outlining is called Scrivener. It's especially good for Mac. I'm not sure if it's on PC or not. It's about like $30, maybe $40, but it's worth your investment. I even take my notes in class with that program. It's very helpful because I can organize each day by day, unit by unit, and see what we did. And you can compile it into one document. It's really cool. So when you outline, you'll be presented with these folders. So I'll have a novel folder, and then I'll have folders for parts. And you go into the parts, and you'll have folders for chapters. And inside those chapters, you'll have like the little, either you'll have page, or you'll have a couple pages for like scenes, so you can even go down further, scene by scene, situation by situation, if you want to be that intricate. You're able to like click on to the folder and you'll see this like basically a bulletin board, and you'll have like, it looks like little flashcards, and in that flashcard you can write the description of your chapter, and it's really easy because I mean the things like that big, so you're not seeing every single thing, but as you write the chapter, it'll have the little description on it, so you can look back into the description, you'll know what you wrote in the past, and you can apply it to that chapter. When you outline, it kind of goes by really fast, but I was able to sit down, and when I was inspired to write, I sat down and I outlined like 40 chapters in 2 days. Like, it was that easy, and that will help me in the future when I go back to it and I forget what I wrote down or forget certain things. I can look down there, I'm like, oh, okay, that's what happens in here, and if I do decide to change it, I can always go back and edit that. So in the future, if I'm going to do some editing, I can know when that scene happened, where it happened, and who with, blah, 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 blah. Like I said before, you also really want to be explicit in your outlines because there could be a thing in there that you forget, and as you write it, it could change, and you really just want to know what you're writing. In the future, you want to go back to it and know what is going on in that scene rather than just like a generalization of what's going to happen. But in outlining, you see the entire book right there, and you know what's going to happen. As you go back, you can write it, and if things don't work out, back into the outline, pick and choose the things that you want to happen, and change it without having to rewrite the entire chapter. Especially when you're doing further edits down the road, if you get the book deal, you'll want to go back and know you can delete scenes, you can rearrange the entire thing. It's very, very helpful. One good thing about it too is that if you're stuck in a certain thing where like you have writer's block, I mean, you can jump forward and go ahead and write that scene, and if you write that scene, you may be able to find the connections between those two scenes, and then go and fill in the blanks. It's so easy. Like, you won't get confused if you have this outline, and Scrivener is there to help you because you can write it all in that one program, and it will compile it into one document which you can send to editors or agents, editors, publishing houses. I promise I'm not like sponsored by them. I just really love this program. I've used it since my freshman year in college to take my notes, and it's been a lifesaver. So if you can take notes with it, you can always write novels. It's the same kind of thing. It's very organized. Not really the same kind of thing, but you get where I'm coming from. And that's about it. Like, I mean, when I say outlining is essential, and some people, like, honestly, if you don't need that and you have an organized mind, or you're doing it on paper, and writing like very generalized things, and if that works for you, go ahead and do it. But as someone who is like scatterbrained and it's kind of overwhelmed when I have this big story I want to tell, and I don't want it to like stumble over itself and like get like conflict with certain things, or like be very, you know, just bad. And for me, that like it would, if I went into it blind, that would be what happens. Especially if you're jumping right in and beginning your novel, consider doing outlining. It will save you down the road, especially when you finish that novel and you're sending it off to publishers and agents and whatever you want to do with it. It will help when you go back and do your drafts. Oh my god. It's better than having a giant notebook of notes and getting lost of what you're doing and not being able to change it. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll have more up fairly soon about whatever I want to talk about as I get there. I'm still outlining, not quite done yet, but I'm excited to see where it goes. Hope this helped you, because knowing about outlining, when I wrote my first book, it didn't really help it out, and when I self-published it, it was just, nah, that's why it doesn't exist anymore. Now that I've like understood the craft of outlining and see how well it helps people out, I think it should help you out too. I'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye!